Right, so this is my second time trying to record this video. I did record it last night, but to be quite honest, lads, I looked back on the footage and I was a bit of a dick in that video. I was quite angry with a couple of players, and I think it's fair to say I didn't speak with a whole lot of sense, and I was quite annoyed at myself about that. So we decided, we'll sleep on it, bun it off, and we'll try with round two the next morning. So hello guys, how are you getting on? This is another episode of the Premier League Verdict, the second last one of the season, and it was quite a game at Anfield last night, wasn't it? It was Liverpool's coronation, getting their chance to get their hands on the famous trophy, becoming, I think, the 7th club in Premier League history to lift the famous trophy. And yeah, it was just an absolutely excellent night for Liverpool Football Club, and one that will certainly live long in the memory with let's be honest, every fan. But it was quite a game on the pitch as well. It finished 5-3 to Liverpool against Chelsea, and it was quite a roller coaster of emotion from start to finish. We'll start off with the starting 11. Then Frank made one change from the weekend semi-final in the FA Cup win over Manchester United, and that was that his number one, Kepa Arrizabalaga, was back in goal, replacing Willy Caballero, which was kind of a change we kind of knew was going to happen realistically. He's always going to start in these games. But apart from that, Chelsea were unchanged. The exact same starting 11. Now, I was a little bit disappointed to see Christian Pulisic on the bench. The mindset I had was that, okay, maybe he's injured, but then I kind of thought, well, why is he on the bench then? Then I thought, well, maybe he's saving him to start against Wolves because he sees that as a more winnable game. Possibly, I don't know. I would have liked to see us, get a draw last night and get Champions League confirmed, because that's all that would have been needed, was a draw. But I think we started the game quite well. I think we kind of played Liverpool at their own game, pressed them high. Didn't have a huge amount of clear-cut chances, but we were actually moving the ball around quite nicely, and we definitely looked threatening. But we didn't have any real, clear-cut chances to hit the front. And then just before the first drinks break of the game, Liverpool did take the lead through Naby Keita, and it was a really, really good strike, and we'll talk about it now. Basically, Willian gives it away very cheaply, about 35 yards from his own goal. Keita picks it up, drives at the Chelsea defence, everyone backs off, and it is a really thunderous shot. And at first, when I first seen it, I'm thinking that is an unstoppable shot. There's not an awful lot Kepa, or any other keeper in the world for that matter, could have done about it. I thought he was after smashing it into the top corner at first viewing, but when you look at the replays, it's quite clear to see that this shot, it's down the middle. Now, yes, it's hit with a lot of power, it's hit with a lot of venom, and it's a very good strike by Keita, I will say that. I think your best keepers in the league save that. And I don't even think you have to be the best keeper in the league to save that. And it's quite telling that Kepa's shot to save ratio is the worst that I found out. Yeah, I knew it was down there with the worst, but he is the worst in the Premier League in terms of shots to save ratio. He's worse than Tim Krul. He's worse than Ben Foster. He's worse than Neeland. He's worse than Pepe Reina. He's worse than Aaron Ramsdale. He's worse than all those relegation threatened, and even in some cases already relegated, keepers. Like, that is not on. For a Chelsea goalkeeper, that is really not on. And I said it after the Sheffield United game, that if Chelsea are to progress and get to the point where Liverpool are, I think Kepa cannot be the number one anymore. I think that's just straight facts at this point. And to be honest, I thought last night we seen the very best and very worst of Chelsea in terms of defensive display and attacking prowess going forward, certainly when Pulisic came off the bench. Liverpool then took a 2-0 lead then through Trent Alexander-Arnold's free kick. Very much so, nearly a carbon copy, I would say, of his free kick against Crystal Palace, literally just after the restart. And again, I think if you're Kepa and you do your homework, you make certainly a better attempt. Like, a lot of time, them Trent free kicks are very unstoppable. But I think if you're a keeper who does his homework, you see that I'd say probably 90% of Trent's free kicks go that side, around the wall, other side of the keeper. Kepa just kind of stands and looks at it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you would like to see... I'm not saying he would have saved it, but I'm just saying I would like to have seen him make a bit more of an effort to try and save it, or to try and anticipate where Trent is going to put it. Because as I said, if you watch any Trent Alexander-Arnold free kick, majority of the time that's where he puts it. But I don't really think Oh, I'm going to get fucking grilled for this, but at this point I don't even care. I don't think it was a free kick in the first place. I think Kovacic has got the ball off Sadio Mane, and I think Andre Mariner has just kind of gone off the scream of Sadio Mane. And I've no doubt that it was probably a sore one for Sadio Mane, because I do think Kovacic follows through, but when you put in that strong a tackle, it's kind of hard for him not to follow through, if that makes sense. But either way, the free kick was given. Alexander-Arnold stuck it in, and it got even worse then for Chelsea. But once again, one of our Achilles heels, well, the Achilles heel from the season has been our defensive corners, and Liverpool scored from one, and the defending was absolutely shambolic. It's a whipped in cross from Robertson from the corner. Kovacic kind of ducks out of the way of it. Giroud goes to head it away completely. He gets something on it. It hits off Jorginho's hand, drops to him. Him and Salah are kind of pinballing over it. In the end, Jorginho doesn't put his foot through it and clear it. It falls to Gini Wijnaldum, who smashes it into the roof of the net, once again past Kepa. 3-0, and at that point, I'm thinking, that's it, game over, realistically. But one thing you can't, fault Chelsea on last night was their attitude. And I got to give credit where credit's due. It could have been very easy for us to just sit off and try and do damage limitation for the rest of the game. But Olivier Giroud pulled one back before the break. Again, a bit of a scrappy goal that Liverpool defensively would have been quite disappointed to concede. But 3-1 at half-time, set up nicely for the second half. And I really was convinced the final nail was put into the coffin literally just at the start of the second half. Roberto Firmino scoring what I believe is his first Anfield Premier League goal of the season, which for number 9 for the champions is quite baffling, really. I know that's not necessarily his game, is goal scoring, but it's incredible that it's taken him to the final home game of the season to get his first Anfield goal in the Premier League. This was just a lovely goal, whipped in by Alexander-Arnold, and Firmino, Johnny on the spot, on the 6-yard box, really good header. All he had to do was direct the power of the cross from Alexander-Arnold past Kepa. Again, 4-1, and again, as similar to when we went 3-0 down, thinking damage limitation, boys, keep an eye on that goal difference. Frank then made 3 changes, bringing on Callum Hudson-Odoi, Tammy Abraham, and Christian Pulisic for the front 3 boys, Willian Mount and Giroud. And Pulisic made an incredible impact. And the one really exciting thing to come out of this game for Chelsea was his performance coming off the bench. He was absolutely mesmerising. And for this Tammy Abraham goal, it was very similar to goals that Eden Hazard goals that he scored at Anfield throughout his career, and he did it so many other times against countless other teams. Pulisic just picks the balls up. It does a little zigzag dribble through a couple of Liverpool players. I think it was a little nutmeg on Joe Gomez as well, and then he squares it. Tammy Abraham is about 5 or 6 yards out. All he has to do is just tap it past Alisson. Couldn't have missed if he tried. And unbelievable bit of skill from Christian Pulisic. And then he got Chelsea's 3rd goal, and really, with 20 minutes to go when he got it, it really looked like we could potentially get an incredible draw and seal Champions League qualification before the final day. He got on the end of a Callum Hudson-Odoi cross, hit it on the turn into the roof of the net to make it 4-3, but then Liverpool wrapped it up with a breakaway goal, rounding off in a Robertson cross, finding Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain to smash it home. 5-3, definitely one of the most entertaining games of the season, and one that will certainly live long in the memory, that's for sure. I have a lot of love and respect for that Chelsea fight back. It was absolutely brilliant to watch, and I was angry last night about the result, because the goals we conceded weren't exactly, I feel like some of the goals were definitely avoidable, and I think it shows Frank Lampard again, and I said this after the Sheffield United game, that yes, we've brought in this attacking talent in Timo Werner, Hakim Ziyech, whoever you want to bring in. Kai Havertz looks to be very close to becoming a Chelsea player. Even when you have that attacking talent, it just goes to show it doesn't matter a shit if you have nothing at the back. And I thought even defensively, I thought we were poor yesterday, but I'll go through the whole team, and I'll say who played well and who didn't. Now, Kepa, obviously, my thoughts on him. I thought he was absolutely awful. And as I said, if Chelsea are to progress as a title contender and a potential title winning club, I don't really see how Kepa can be the number 1, to be honest. I thought Reece James at right wing back had one of his worst games that I've seen him play. He got an absolute roasting off Sadio Mane, and Andy Robertson really did flood down that Liverpool left hand side. Marcus Alonso at left wing back actually had a pretty decent game, lads, I'm not going to lie. And he rarely plays badly when he plays at left wing back. Now, he struggles to get back sometimes, but that's why he has that defensive cover of, oh, Rudiger. Oh, that's his cover. Oh, Jesus. Oh, what has happened to Antonio Rudiger? Like, he has absolutely plummeted in the last couple of games. Like, he just doesn't look sure of himself on the ball at all. When the ball is coming in from to clear it, it could be a simple clearance. I remember one where it was a cross from Robertson from the left hand side. All he has to do is swing his foot at it and get it up the pitch. He falls over and kicks it into the cop. Like, I couldn't understand his mindset, but yeah, he looks absolutely shaky. I thought Zuma was actually quite good last night. Azpilicueta had one of his worst games in recent times, I think, as well. I don't really think Jorginho or Kovacic had a good game yesterday, to be quite honest with you. They were both... I mean, you could put it down to tiredness from the weekend, possibly. They all looked quite tired after Man United game, but... yeah, either way, it was a disappointing performance from the two in the middle after both of them played so well at the weekend. And then the front three, Willian and Mount, were pretty much non-existent until they went off. I thought Giroud put himself about well, won a lot of headers over the likes of Gomez and Van Dijk, but he looked quite isolated, particularly in that first half when he was flicking on balls and there was nobody there, and he was touching off balls, but again there was nobody there to pick up those loose balls. And I mean, he was quite isolated. But then the three boys who come on, I thought Hudson-Odoi looked quite lively, you know, and he's been getting a little stick online and, you know, on the social medias and off pundits and all that, but I thought Callum Hudson-Odoi actually did quite well when he came on. I thought he looked lively. I thought he looked more lively than Willian did in the whatever half or hour that he was on the pitch. Tammy Abraham got a goal last night when he came on. He had to be there to finish it, in fairness to Tammy. And he continues his streak as our top scorer in the Premier League this season. Didn't really put himself about that much. I didn't think he got too involved, really. It was always going to be difficult for him as a lone striker against two big lads like Gomez and Van Dijk. And then in the half an hour he was on, Christian Pulisic was our best player. And it just does make you think what would have happened in the game if Pulisic had started from the start, you know what I mean? But it is what it is. We now go down to the final day against Wolves. It's nice to see that Man United and Leicester are playing each other, so hopefully we get it done, lads. It'll be such a fucking shame if we don't get Champions League now, because we've been so close. But Liverpool fans, congratulations once again. Let me know your thoughts on the game. I will be doing an end of season Premier League verdict probably after the Wolves game. It'll probably be a bit of a longer one, so yeah, stick around for that. Leave a like if you want to, leave a dislike if you do want to. I mean, it's your choice, do you know what I mean? Also subscribe if you want as well, and yeah, we'll see you next time. Take care and good luck.